Who doesn't love visiting castles? Now imagine you can hike through a national park and see all kinds of castles. Welcome to Sigulda, Latvia, where you can hike through the Gauja National Park and not only see castles, but see caves and a whole lot of forest. We've made it to one of the entrances of Gauja National Park here in Sigulda. Today is all about castles, and we'll get a little bit in the national park, but there are a lot of informational signs, and this one is easily the most terrifying for me because it's all about the bats here in the national park. I have an irrational fear of bats. Apparently, every single species of bat that is alive or available here in Latvia can be found in this national park. And if you go down this hike, apparently this is where they winter. But the good news is, we're here during the summer. So I don't have to worry about bats, hopefully.
So what Alexa and I are walking up to right now is the Sigulda castle, but this is some scrubby castle that was built in the 1800s. I didn't come to Europe to see something from the 1800s. So we're gonna pass by this guy and go to the old castle, the one that was built in the 1200s, because, well, we just don't get a lot of that in these States.
Sometimes when you get a view, you get some epic nature, city views, but sometimes you also just get a freeway. That's okay.
Tight quarters here in the old castle.
Oh, help and bother.
Red light is moody. Finally, a chair made for my size.
The red light is a vibe for sure.
Yeah.
It's very gothic. So I feel like because I found a map of it in the castle I wanted to see, I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about it. Throughout our entire time here in the Baltics, we didn't really talk about it in Estonia, but now here in Latvia, we're gonna see more of it in Riga, and we're gonna see even more of it in Lithuania. It's worth pointing out that this entire area was once part of some form of a country called, well, it gets complicated. There was the Order of the Teutonic Knights, and then there was the Livonian Order, and then there was different offshoots of each. Essentially, this area was a Catholic monastic state of sorts. Didn't really have a king, but they had masters and rulers, and they built castles all over this region in order to establish a Catholic sort of region and largely fight against, well, for being honest, the Russians, but also the Swedish a little bit. This is a map here that says Livonia, which means it was during the Livonian period that this castle was probably built. Anyways, it's just a really fun and really unique part of history that doesn't really adhere to most of Europe. Now granted, the idea of nation states as we know them today didn't exist back then for anybody. It was just kings and nobles. Still very interesting. Onward to the castle.
Oh boy.
We're stuck in here with a pigeon. I don't know if he's stuck or
We're in his home.
we're in his home. Most of this that we see here was remade in the 1980s. Only some of it is actually from the 1200s. A little less special, but still cool and built like it's supposed to be from the 1200s. New, old, they connect. So this is actually really cool. They've created a 3D rendition of the Gauja Valley here, including the castles that, well, I want to see. So starting first in Sigulda Castle, this is where we're at right over here. We're actually in this little tower right over here. And then if you look across the river from where we're at, which is back there, You can see this, which is Sigulda Castle, I believe it's called. And then this one, which is probably the more famous of the three castles here. Well, Sigulda is probably more famous. A very famous castle regardless is Picturesque Castle. It's just neat that they've done this. As a geographer, I appreciate it. I mentioned at the start of our European trip here, back in Heidelberg, that castles were the new trains. In Europe, trains are just an everyday thing. It's just not as exciting to see or be on one. I really feel like I've delivered so far, because this ain't even the first castle we're gonna see today.
Thank you, Latvia!
Alexa is getting a little bit of a ego just being on this stage here.
All right, we're heading down these long stairs, which means we will have to come back up, so hopefully it's worth it.
Well, that was a big ol' nothing. Pro tip if you're ever here, you see a long staircase that goes down to something, just avoid it. And you'll save yourself the misery of climbing back up the steps. All right, because we're gonna see so many castles today, we're gonna play a fun little game. We are each going to grade on a grade school grade, F through A scale, what we think of each castle. Alexa, Sigulda Castle, old castle. What's the grade?
I'd say like a 6.
I said F through A.
Oh. Like a C plus, B minus.
C plus, B minus. I think I would give it a B minus too. It's a cool castle. You can sort of crawl all around it, get into it, but a lot of it's new. A lot of it's very not authentic feeling. So yeah, we'll see how the rest of the castles do here.
Now, if you are interested in coming to both Sigulda castles, 1, highly recommend it, but 2, it's not that expensive. It is about €9 for both of us, so $4.50 each, which is not bad considering you get to see 2 cool castles, have access to a bathroom. It's perfect.
Now I know I said that I really only cared about the old castle, but when in Rome, right? So when in Sigulda, might as well check out the new one too.
I will say it's really quiet in here, and you can hear my shoes throughout the entire building.
You know, I didn't become a dancer for a reason.
I'd say Geoff should keep his day job. There's a door that says it goes, so we should definitely go in. Letting them know we're entering. Spooky.
I do appreciate commitment to the bit, even if it's hokey. You know, I really didn't think the new castle was gonna be worth it. This is a heck of a view.
Yeah.
You just gotta keep climbing stairs. Just keep going up.
It's crazy how many trees there are. Just like trees as far as you can see.
It is a forest. It's kind of what makes a forest a forest. And there's still more to go. I keep feeling like I'm gonna hit my head on one of these stairs. Oh boy. Now we have made it to the top of the tower on the new castle.
Very cool.
And a little bit of a better view than one floor down. That's how it works when you go up. Now, one of the cool things about coming all the way up here is that you can actually see pretty clearly Picturesque Castle across the river. If we ever make it out of Sigulda Castle, we'll get over there.
Yeah, was not expecting to be here this long, but it's been neat.
It's been neat. And of course, if you go up, you gotta go back down, which is quite unnerving. These are narrow, spirally steps. If you don't like heights like, well, I don't, you get a little weak in these. Now it's at this point that you might be asking us, Geoff and Alexa, how are you gonna get across that river to the other side where the castles are? Cable car. Of course, I do have a love-hate relationship with cable cars. Oh, that is a steep drop. We're about to go down.
Whoa.
Very fun, novel form of transportation, but very high up, very scary for people who don't like heights. But I just can't say no to one.
We just finished up with the cable car. It was really cool. Got to see great views of the river. I will say that it is pretty hot in there because they fill it pretty full with lots of people.
Yeah, I thought it was actually pretty boring. If I came to Sigulda again, I wouldn't go back and do it. It's like, it's slow. You're actually not that high up, so it never really feels that adventurous. And it's just sort of slow and plodding along. And yeah, it's just hot. So probably a cable car you can skip, to be honest.
But I don't know where else you get those views of the river. And it is the longest cable car in the Baltics. Not sure if that's saying much, but
I don't think it is. The cable car we took in Taiwan was much longer. Now, like with most things in most national parks in the world, if you want to see the cool stuff, you have to be willing to put in the effort.
The wilderness must be explored! Go, go!
For our case, this means hiking and walking quite a bit. And, you know, I know I always say this, but right now it's all downhill. At some point, it's gonna be all uphill for us. Oof.
oh my gosh.
That is just so many stairs. Now, this may look very beautiful, and it is. It's glen-like even. But what you might not expect is there are so many mosquitoes here. Oh, I think I have like 10 bites just from the last 10 minutes. How you doing, Alexa?
Yeah, did not dress appropriately for the hikes that we are doing today. Whew.
Should have brought bug spray.
All right, on our hike to Tarita Castle, we want to stop at a cave. But before we get to our main cave, there's this cool small cave with water running down it. So we'll see how far we can go. Because I have white tennis shoes and I'm not trying to get those ruined.
A few moments later.
Oh, I'm stopping. That didn't last very long.
This is about as far as Alexa can go. I also didn't want to tell her, but the likelihood of bats is higher.
Oh.
I don't know if I'd call this a cave so much as just a really tiny spring outlet from water or something like that. All in all, pretty uneventful. Hopefully our next cave is filled with far many more bats for Alexa. Not 5 minutes ago, there was almost nobody here. Now look at everybody swarming in.
Right behind me is Gutmanla Cave. I hope I'm saying that right, but let's be real, probably not. Now, this is one of the largest caves in Latvia. I should say cave. It's more of a grotto. Not only is it the largest cave, but it is also the most visited, as you can tell behind me. But this spot is really neat because, as you can see, there are a lot of carvings. Now, a lot of these are a lot newer, like the 1900s, but the oldest one that is still up here dates back to the 1600s. Unfortunately, there were ancient carvings. Those are long gone because of the sandstone, and as you can tell, a lot of more recent carvings. But this cave is not just famous because of the carvings, it actually has a dark history. The legend dates back to 1620, when this woman who grew up at the castle, named Maja, fell in love with the gardener. They met at the cave very often, and because she was so beautiful, other men were attracted to her too. And this is where the bad guy, the villain, an army deserter, comes in. Now, he wanted to marry Maja, so he sent her a letter telling her to meet her at the cave, but he was pretending to be the gardener. So, like she always did, she went down to the cave to meet the gardener, but quickly found out that it wasn't him. It was this army deserter. Now, Maja had a magical scarf that was supposed to protect men of injury, and she pleaded with him to let her go in exchange for the scarf. She said, if you don't believe me, then you can try and strike me. The scarf will protect me. Well, she knew the scarf wasn't going to help her out. He ended up killing her, and the poor gardener found her in the cave. She is now buried at the castle. Now it's been a legend since 1620.
I will point out that there is now some historic evidence that this actually happened. I don't know if all the details are there, but something happened. So it's been a long hike, and we need a little bit of lunch. Of course, when in Latvia, you get chicken nuggets and fries. I feel like potatoes and meats is as good of a staple as any here in Latvia. So that story that Alexa told you guys a little bit ago, the graveyard, or the gravestone, whatever, is this way.
Very cool. I also love that there are two roses right on top.
Well, according to that gravestone, Maja was only 19 years old when she was hacked to death. Very sad. But if I know anything about European legends and stories and tales, it's that there usually doesn't have a happy ending.
Turrida Pills, or Turrida Castle, dates back all the way to 1214. Well, at least the brick part does. Back in the 1700s, unfortunately, there was a huge fire that destroyed all of the wooden areas, and in the 20th century, a lot of archaeological research has been done to the castle and restoration. Turrida Castle reached its height in the 1600s, and it is one of the most important castles here in the Baltic states. Let's check it out.
As usual, you know we gotta go up.
You're joking. Not another one?
We are still going up. This is insane. I feel like I've gone up 8 floors already. So I don't think you guys can hear it, but there's these little devices in here that make sounds that sound like bats. There are no bats in here, but I'm pretty sure it's to keep bats out.
Thank God.
But it gave Alexa a little bit of a panic attack.
This is not a good sound.
It's always worth going to the top of some place, just for the views alone. Bats would have been extra cool though.
Walking around these castles, super cool. One thing it makes me realize, I would not survive in the 15, 16, 1700s. Nothing about this says Alexa.
Me, on the other hand, I also wouldn't have survived. Too much disease and war. Not for me. I like my creature comforts. This place is fun because it's equal parts historic, and so very authentic, and hokey tourist trap with like little mannequins all made up to look like, you know, nobles from 500, 600 years ago.
Oh, oh, I'm like, two. Oh. Oh, I hit it, thank you. Oh. I got it. Oh, well that was fun, thank you.
Alexa's first bow and arrow experience. Honestly, not bad. It was really funny though, because you kept like holding it at your cheek and then like reaching with your cheek over to then like pull your whole body back. And I was like, you couldn't just pull the whole thing back and then let go.
I think the funnier thing was when I just did this with my fingers to let it go, and the guy was like, no, you gotta let your whole thing go. That was fun.
Good times here. Hokey, but good times.
Yeah.
Well, that was a really fun castle to explore, but in keeping with our little game we're playing for this episode, Alexa, we gotta grade it.
I feel like it's a B. That was cool. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a solid A-. The tower, that's just right there. Very cool to climb up. Good views, cool things to see. Even though it's kind of hokey inside, it's pretty authentic outside. It's a good castle, well worth the trip.
Yeah, definitely worth the hike.
Speaking of hikes, we are going to hike back to our hotel.
Yes.
So, we'll see you tomorrow.
Good morning. Today is our second day in Sigulda, and we are going on a hike. We kind of hiked a lot yesterday, but we're gonna go on an official hike today and hopefully get some pretty epic views of Sigulda. Jeff and I are on our way to the Paradise Hills Trail in the Gauja National Park here in Latvia. What's really cool about Sigulda, the town that is right next to the national park, is that you don't need a car. And I think that's kind of rare in a lot of, at least US national parks. We got here by train from another country. We have walked everywhere. We're walking to the trailhead right now. But if we really wanted to, we could also take a bus. Or if we really wanted to, we could also rent a bike. And there are plenty of bike trails throughout the city and along the river and in the national park. It's just so nice to be able to access nature without needing a car. Take notes, America.
As Alexa and I make our way to Paradise Hill, I think it's called, I just want to point out that yesterday, during the entire hike out to the castle and back, I was bit no fewer than 10 times by mosquitoes. And in fact, I am actively missing knuckles right now. Meanwhile, Alexa, not a single bite. And yet, who's covered head to toe in clothes today? And yet I'm still wearing shorts. I don't know who's the smart one in this situation because it's kind of hot and muggy out.
Yeah, I'm a little warm.
It only took like 20 or so minutes, but we are, as you can see, already within the national park, alluding to what Alexa was talking about earlier. And I just want to point out that Europe obviously is a big continent with a lot of people. And just like earlier this year when we were in Heidelberg, we did a little hike through some forested areas over there. But it really is quite rare to be inside a national park this expansive within Europe because it's just such a heavily developed continent. Certainly nothing like, you know, the Rocky Mountains of North America or the Amazon of South America, where there's just an endless amount of forest. But if you are going to find anything like that, well, the Baltics, Finland, and of course Russia is probably going to be the place you're gonna see it. Stuff like this. And it's really quite beautiful. Gotta watch out for bears though. Once again, we find ourselves descending just down so many stairs, which means, once again, just like yesterday, we're gonna have to go back up these things. Hopefully it's worth it. I'll also say that these stairs are not in the best of condition. If you do come here, watch your step, because you can easily trip and fall.
A few moments later.
Whoa.
Careful.
We have made it to our second to last stop for the day. This tiny little cave, which actually has kind of a grim story attached to it. Apparently, call him a Vagar, which I'm gonna assume is some sort of like priest, but I have no idea. Very kind to the peasants, which the barons of the local area didn't like, so they ended up kidnapping him and throwing him down the ravine, which is inside this little cave here.
Really? You should just stay away from the caves. Nothing good happens in the caves.
Caves in Latvia? Not good. Also, not really caves. Well, this is about as deep as it goes, which isn't very deep at all. And as you can see, there's a lot of carvings in this cave as well, just like the one we saw yesterday. Although I'm not quite sure how old these ones are. They do look old. They look very well worn, but I just can't tell. It's also a very sort of sandstone-y type material, which means it just kind of rubs off. Yeah. Alexa won't come in because she's afraid of bats. Very small, but well worth the very small detour it took to get here. Of course, I say that before we have to go up all the stairs again. Man, it's wild. Some of these look like stamps of sorts. Like there'd be a single carver who'd come out and just make somebody's name, probably because he was paid to do it, in the exact same style.
Before we get to our last stop, let's talk a little bit about the Gauja National Park. This national park is right next to the town of Sigulda, which is known as the Switzerland of the Baltics. Now, I've never been to Switzerland, but having spent some time here, not really sure where they say that. There aren't a lot of mountains, but there is this large forest. The Gauja National Park is the oldest and largest national park here in Latvia. It was established in 1973 and is more than 90,000 hectares large. This national park is known for its biological diversity. Over the past 2 days, we've seen quite a bit of it. Obviously, there is the large forest, but there are also sandstone landforms, there's caves, there's the huge Gauja River, which nestles in between the national park. And what's really cool is as you're walking around, you can see castles from all over the place. And speaking of castles, let's go to our last stop where we're gonna get a pretty epic view of one of the castles we visited yesterday.
We made it. We made it all the way up here to Paradise Hill for this view, which is to ride a castle, which is where we were yesterday. And from here, and as well down the trail, you can see all of the valley, which is just really quite beautiful.
Sigulda has been so much fun. It's always nice when you can get out in nature. Next week, it's gonna look a little different. We are in Riga,
The capital of Latvia. So come back next week.
for another adventure. See you then. Oh, are you recording? Slug. Slug. Gutmanla Cave. I think I said it differently the first time.
Going slow for Alexa.
And now she lives, well no, she's dead. When the Coke hits. Oh God, no! The Coke, you're out. Coke. That is not going online.
It might go online.